Why might a truck driver be found at fault when they're not actually at fault? Stick around to find out because this one is quite niche. Now this mainly applies to commercial vehicles like trucks, and you might find the answer quite surprising. It's often the haulier's decision to just let low value claims like this go down as fault, because to fight it could actually be more hassle than it's worth for the haulier, even if the driver wants to fight it. More on that in a second. So this video was sent in by one of my friendly truck driver viewers. It's fairly simple. Truck proceeding in lane 1 of the carriageway, car comes out from the slip road into the path of the truck and keeps on braking, and it results in a collision. Now for me this is fairly straightforward. The car has joined lane 1 from the slip road. It doesn't matter about the roadworks and the temporary layout. A slip road is a slip road regardless of whether it's laid out with paint or with cones. The car leaves the slip road and joins into lane 1 into the path of the HGV camera vehicle, removing the safe braking distance that they had in front of them. Due to moving into the path of an HGV and remaining on the brakes, the car driver should be found at fault, and that should be a fairly simple win, but the car driver held the truck driver at fault. And it was actually settled on the basis that the truck driver was responsible for the collision. What happens in motor claims if there is a dispute and liability that can't be resolved through putting forward arguments and counter-arguments is that it ultimately comes down to the point where one of the parties will have to issue court proceedings on the other and have a judge decide who was at fault for the collision in civil court. Even after proceedings are issued, many cases do still get settled pre-trial because waiting for court dates can take anywhere up to a couple of years from the proceedings being issued. Thanks to the cuts that the courts have received over the past decade and a half, but when there is a genuine bona fide liability dispute, if one side doesn't back down, then it has to await the trial date. Even your bog standard private individuals can be alienated by this wait. Their memories forget the finer details of the collision, or they lose interest whilst waiting. But for truck company owners, this can be even more of a difficult decision as to whether to wait or not. Now obviously this will depend on size of fleets, number of drivers, etc, but many small hauliers with limited trucks and drivers don't want a driver or a truck off the road ever. If you imagine this incident happened 300 miles away from base, on the date of the trial they'll have to have an agency driver drive the truck that the collision driver normally drives. They have to pay to get the driver to the court where the trial is held, which is usually in the area the collision happened. If it is 300 miles away, they might need to pay for overnight accommodation, fuel, and of course wages for a driver that's not even going to be driving a truck, and then there's still a chance that the judge will favour the other party and it still goes down as a fault claim anyway. Now what if the court date is 2 or 3 years post-collision because the dispute went on for so long and it took a while to issue court proceedings? Does that driver even drive for them anymore? Do they still want to attend court? Could their new employer let them out for a day to attend court miles from base? Even with all of that being overcome, it could be adjourned over 2 or 3 dates, and what happens if this has to happen 2 or 3 times over a period of many months? For the haulier, their costs are going to be racking up. And it's because of all of these logistical and financial issues that many small hauliers will treat these low value claims like this and just think it's better to cut the losses immediately and keep the truck and its driver on the road. So that's the answer as to why a truck driver can be found at fault when they're not actually at fault. Lovely jubbly, sound as a pound.